I think I actually knew Ernie by reputation long before I got to know him as a person. The reason for that is that I was a Sigma Chi pledge with 5 other guys from Wyandotte High School. Tom Jones, Terry Oldham, the Rawlings twins, and Ron Reuter. They always talked about Ernie, particularly Tom. Tom and I ultimately became good friends. I'm from Parsons, Kansas, so I didn't know all these big city guys, and I needed some friends when I joined the fraternity house. And they were all good guys, and I got to know Tom probably better than most. And I learned about this guy named Ernie Yarnevich that was over at the Kappa Sig house. Tom was always a little disgusted that Ernie was not a part of our pledge class because he was obviously really good friends with Ernie and wanted him to be in our pledge class. But we had too many people from Wyandotte, so fortunately it seems like Ernie joined another fraternity. And as time went on, I keep hearing about Ernie and stories about Ernie and what a great guy he was, but I didn't really get to know him. I'd met him a time or two, but didn't really get to know Ernie until he and Ann started dating. And so with the Wyandotte crowd, we all would start running around together and got to know Ernie that way. Finally, after we all graduated, I went off, started teaching here in Kansas City, went off to the Army for 6 years and lived away from Kansas City for quite a while. Went 6 years on active duty and then 3 years of law school after that. So we moved back to town and kind of got reintegrated into the old KU crowd. And that's when we really started seeing Ann and Ernie quite a lot, socializing, having dinners together. But it was always kind of through Kay and Tom Jones, and finally had developed a relationship with Ann and Ernie. I practiced in Wyandotte County for a while and got to know his father sort of through bar activities, and had some sense of what he did growing up on the Hill and how that was so influential in his life. And so he was just a tremendously interesting guy, and it was just fun to get to know him. I knew Tom Jones and Ernie were great friends, but I don't think I really appreciated how deep that friendship was until actually Ernie's funeral. And David gave this eloquent eulogy, which was just amazing. We were all taken by that. And Tom, I had gotten to know Tom Jones as being a really smart, intellectual guy, a good athlete, and it was an interesting relationship because Tom, obviously valued Ernie's friendship above all others, I think. Tom was always a strong guy, and I mean that in the sense that he didn't always show a lot of emotion. But after David's eulogy and waiting around in the receiving line after the funeral, I saw Tom get very emotional, and it's the only time I'd seen Tom emotional, which just was an indication of how strong the relationship was between those two guys. I really admired both of them. They were both great friends. Tom for much longer than Ernie, obviously, but I began to appreciate then how much Tom and Ernie had influenced one another and what good friends they had been. I was privileged to get to know Ernie through Tom, and enjoyed the times we had with Ernie and Ann together, and value those greatly. So I didn't get to be a good friend of Ernie until late in life, but we had some valuable time together, and I treasure those immensely.
I'm Jim Mueller, and I'm here to talk about Ernie Yarnevich a little bit.
And I'm Doug Gertner, and we're both former partners of Ernie and his good friends, I hope.
I started with the firm in 1975, and Ernie had been here a few years before me. So he was an early mentor and soon very, very good friend. Ernie and I practiced in the same areas. We ended up being on the executive committee, and Doug joined us on the executive committee later. So we spent a lot of time together. Ernie was an excellent lawyer. Day to day, he was the go-to guy for a lot of business and tax decisions, and he was accomplished in his profession and well recognized, not just within our firm, but throughout the city. Ended up being the chairman of the Heart of America Tax Institute, and as I say, very well recognized as an expert attorney. But for me, Ernie's relationship was much more than just on our partnership professional level. He and I became extremely good friends. Ernie was dedicated to the profession. He was a brilliant lawyer. He was diligent. He was organized. Put all of his effort into it. And I think because opposites attract, he and I became very good friends. I was none of those things. Ernie and I ended up having a very good relationship outside of the office as well, and I was very interested in what he was doing all the time. He loved to travel. He was interested in all sorts of world affairs, so we had great conversations. We went to lunch very often. I think that one of my memories had to do with a traveling episode. Again, our professional life was day to day and almost routine. We just counted on each other. But what I liked about Ernie was the relaxed Ernie. He told me a story about when he went to Japan and he and Ann were at lunch. No, I guess it was dinner. And he had had maybe a sake or two. And the guy across the table, Japanese fellow, happened to notice, and he said, well, would you like to maybe go and have some good sake? And Ernie said, of course. So they left that restaurant and apparently went down the block to a karaoke bar, had another 2 or 3 good sakes, and Ernie ended up on the stage singing House of the Rising Sun. And I can just barely picture Ernie up on the stage singing House of the Rising Sun, but it brings a smile to my face and reminds me of what an all-around good guy he was, and I'm really going to miss him. Doug?
I was asked today to tell you all about what my best or favorite memory was of Ernie. And I think all my memories, all my feelings about Ernie, all my memories about Ernie are the best. I first got to know Ernie during merger discussions between Slagle, Bernard and Corman and the Field Gentry law firm, and that was about early 2000. I was friends with Dick Adams. Dick and Ernie were very close, and I think it was Dick Adams who made the formal introduction. I was a trial lawyer, Ernie was a corporate lawyer. It was a friendship at first sight. Although the merger did not occur, I joined the firm later in March of 2000, and Ernie soon became my good friend until his untimely death in 2017. Ernie had a great sense of humor and wit, and an excellent legal mind. He was a lawyer's lawyer. Despite our differences in politics, we never, ever had a crossword. We just agreed to disagree. And that was Ernie. I am forever grateful and honored to call Ernie my partner and good friend. Only a few people could ever stand in Ernie's shadow. I miss him very much, and we all had lots of fun together.
We miss you, Ernie.
We do.
My wife, Diane, and I arrived in Kansas City in 1979. We were fortunate to land on Chadwick Street in Fairway, and soon we came to know the Yarnevich family, Ernie and Ann and the kids. I'll have to say we enjoyed hundreds of wonderful meals with Ann and Ernie and with the dinner group. We traveled together. One of the things I remember most about Ernie is swapping books with him. He was without a doubt one of the best read people I've ever known. He also served as legal counsel for my company and for Diane and I. I've often thought of Ernie as the most complete person I know. He was a religious person, and he lived his faith. He was a well-read person. He was a member of the community and active in every way. He was a father, and he was a terrific businessman. I think of Ernie often, and I often wish that I could talk to him one more time. He was a whole person in every way, and I miss him.